this episode we're gonna talk about team fighting. Team fighting is a thing in Dota later in the game. Usually early game, mid game, team fights are very scrappy, but still during those times you still wanna communicate with your team. What's the plan of the fight? What is it that we wanna achieve? Who is the target? How do we position? Who is the front line? All these things have to be. Usually they just happen naturally with experience, but still it's good to voice them in the game. Like, what is it that I'm gonna do? Everybody says what they're gonna do in the fight. It makes everything much more smoother, and everybody has a clear idea how the fight will pan out, because everybody talks how they are gonna approach it. Team fighting is just a lot about positioning, obviously. Where do you take the fight? You want to fight around your wards, where you have the vision. Vision advantage is a huge thing in team fights. If possible, you want them to run into your high ground or something like this, so you have the better tools to take the fight. I mean, always the team who gets the surprise, the goal on the fight, usually ends up being on top, because they get to choose the way the fight starts. And yeah, so yeah, it's basically just positioning, having vision advantage, and yeah, just calling out targets, being on the same page, going on the same guy, and everybody knows what they're supposed to do, where they're supposed to stand in the fight. Are the backliner, the carry, the damage dealer who is squishy, like draw. Maybe you have to stay far back, let your team initiate, and you follow up with your right clicks and your other damage spells. When you're approaching a team fight, you always wanna communicate the way you wanna cast your spells. Is it that you initiate, like for example, I'm playing Monkey King, and my ultimate is a big part of our team fight. It's the spell that's gonna win us the fight if it's a good monkey ulti. So we have to talk. I have to voice that I need to get an ulti on top of these two guys, and we're gonna win the fight. And then we discuss in the moment that, okay, maybe I have a Trent in my team. It's like, okay, I'll just initiate with my ulti so you can then get the ultimate on top of them. Like, it's just about team fights can be very chaotic if there's no communication, and then it's like really hard to know what's going on and what's my plan in the fight if there's no communication that voices that what is the purpose of this fight, how do we win this fight. And always when you're going into fight, you need to have a clear plan that what is the way we win this fight. It's very easy example as a Monkey King that I need to get a good ultimate, and then your team is like, okay, I can blink instant, so you can follow up, and then I go, okay, let's do that, let's execute it. And in that case, usually you need vision on the enemies, so then maybe you have one guy is like, okay, I'll just run in and show you where they are if you don't have wards on them. He can be the position 5, say he's playing some Ench that doesn't really contribute to the fight. He can be the guy who goes in and gives vision, and then you have a plan in head. Okay, he goes in, then you have the blink stun and follow up in monkey ulti. Very simple, and without communication it can look very awkward. Nobody knows when to go in, who to go in first, and then it just ends up being terrible. I mean, the best thing you can do is still voicing it, like give the Monkey King example again. I'm playing Monkey King in pubs. I'll just tell my teammates that I need to ulti their Ursa, because if I ulti him, he's gonna die in the ulti. There's no way he's gonna survive it. So then it's just up to my team to take the information in, and like, I mean, even in pubs they will listen to you. They will try to make it happen, even though it's not as coordinated. Sharing the information helps, especially in pubs, because people might not have a good idea of how you're supposed to approach the fight. So giving them any kind of information is very helpful. I'm gonna show one team fight in this game, and this is you're playing against Nigma. I mean, you have to sign up with Wench mid and Nature's Prophet safe lane, and then we have an Underlord, Shaker and Bane. And we're playing against the Meeple lineup, and they have this Coddle Kunkka team fight going for them. And so basically how we want to approach the fights is either me or Underlord going in first, baiting their spells, and then re-engaging after they run out of spells. So here we're preparing for a fight. Our supports are hiding in the woods. We know they're in their jungle, and then I'm like, okay, I'll be the guy to get us vision. This is my job in this fight. I'll be the initiator of the fight. Okay, so they're going on me, and this is a very good start for us. We know they're all there, so now it just needs. That's great. We bait the boat. We bait the coral ulti, and now we just wait the spells out, and then we re-engage. This is a perfect way for us to play the fight, because me being in the front, they don't really. There's no way for them to go past me, and we just get to right click them down after they wasted all their spells on me, and we just used one nightmare to save me. Yeah, this is a very ideal way to approach the fight with the lineup we have. So I'm gonna show a couple of fights from this game. We're playing against Team Unique. And so we have this lineup of Drow middle, and then we have this Mirana carry and Wench offlane. So our lineup is very high physical damage, and so basically our lineup is very just enabling the Drow and the Mirana, and them just dealing tons of physical damage, and then we have a little bit of a team fight with the Earth Spirit. But other than that, it's more about just very high physical damage lineup and just trying to burst them down with our high damage. So yeah, basically how we want to approach fights in this game is when starting with the swap. And the higher priority targets in this game is killing the Oracle and the DP. And usually we should probably go on the Oracle first, but the way our heroes works, it's quite difficult to catch the Oracle without having a really good vision on him. So the way we want to approach the fights is getting their backline if you can, and going in with the Earth Spirit, and this is a bit scrappy fight for us. Venge is dead, but I still decide I want to go for it because I saw a very good opportunity to get a very good, I got very good spells off by going on their backline. They were not prepared for it. So we ended up playing 4 versus 5 fight, but we ended up coming ahead on the fight. And me dying there is still fine because we get the Luna kill, we get the DP ulti. It's a very big thing when it goes on cooldown. We have 2 minutes to use. We can do whatever we want while it's on cooldown. It's very important, like when you go into team fights, you shouldn't be too scared about giving up your life for your team. Like even as a mid laner and carry, like if you see opportunity, you initiating the fight, but you might end up dying, but you see that you're gonna win the fight. Like being too scared doesn't really help anything. You're gonna end up losing the fight if you start being too scared and not having the confidence to go for this plays. And in the end, if you die and your other core survives, it doesn't really matter as long as you win the fight. So here we're hitting Roshan, and the main reason we're hitting Roshan is because we want them to react to what we're doing. We don't really want to kill this. We know that they're coming. They have Elder Titan and DP, and taking the fight, getting the Rose is unlikely. So the main goal is to force them to get here, because we know that this area is very good for us to fight on. We get to fight on this river, and it's good ground for us for fighting because we're gonna have good vision on them. We can use our long range right clicks to really just right click them down. So here we're seeing that the DP is getting low SP, so we want to force the Oracle ulti because we cannot anyway reach this guy. So the idea is just to force the ultimate. I'm playing with the Venge swap. It's on the backline. We're both playing with the swap. Earth Spirit's going in, so it gives us more space. And now we're just trying to re-engage. They used all their spells. We just want to re-engage. And then they just start dying. We get our spells off, and boom. We got a really good Earth Spirit ulti off. That just basically won us the fight because they were trying to go on me and Mirana because we deal so much damage that they feel pressured to jump us as soon as they can. So they got really vulnerable to the Earth Spirit spells. I mean, here we're starting to be so far ahead. We're playing with Aegis, It's a different thing when you team fight with Aegis. The Aegis guy can usually be very aggressive, go in deep, and then we're playing with the swap save and the disruption save. So we're not too afraid of going deep and just playing super aggro on them. Here again, we didn't get the Oracle, but it's okay. We let him multi him at this point. It doesn't. We're playing with the Aegis. It's fine if he dies. Yeah, our heroes are just too strong for them. So in this game, it's a pub game. I'm playing Tiny. I mean, you can already see here that my plan is not to make a team fight. It's more about just creating pressure, but it's end up becoming a team fight. Like I'm just making them rotate to what I'm doing, but they really want to make this team fight happen. So in a way, I'm kind of giving it to them. I want them to waste their spells on me while our other cores are farming. I mean, it's just the way this fight ends up happening is they blow all their spells on me and Witch Doctor, while I get for free just cast my spells multiple times and get my combo off, and then eventually this Slark also connected to the fight, and it ended up being a very successful fight for us. Yeah, this is a good example of when you're playing ahead. Like anytime they show on the map, you want to punish them. Like whenever they farm a creep camp, you just go and keep killing them over and over again. Don't give them any space to breathe, and then just keep up the aggression. Never let them escape the base. Just keep on hitting the tower when you can. This guy just running in. He just dies. Making them TP. I am very struggling so hard to get out on the map, and we just keep pushing the waves in constantly. There's really not much they can do. Here they're desperately trying to make something happen, and yeah, we're ready to save him, and then we just punish this guy straight away when he goes on us. To sum things up about teamfighting is that we already showed a couple of those examples, and those things you have to keep in mind, like positioning, vision, like where do you want to fight? Is it at your hill or is it at their hill? It's a very big deal if you have the vision on them or they have the vision on you. And always communicating like what is the target, what is the main target of the fight, how do you want to start the fight, and like talking about the approach you want to take when you start the fight. Like always communicating with your team, being on the same page, and just identifying what is your role in the fight. To get better at team fighting, you just need to, first of all, play a lot of games, and then watching pro players play is a good way to maybe get a better idea how to approach these fights. And then it just comes with experience, and then always just being mindful of what is it that I should be doing in this fight, like looking back at your own replays, like what is it I should have done in this fight. And maybe it doesn't seem obvious in the game, but once you go back to the replay and look at your own gameplay, you might realize, oh, maybe I shouldn't be in the front. Maybe I should just wait for my Earth Spirit to start the fight for me, or something like this. So you just need to practice, look at your own replays, and just really thinking about it, like what is my role in this fight. If you wanna make a fight good for you, obviously what you need to do is cast your spells properly, try to bait some spells from them, and the way you can do that is, first of all, communication, being on the same page with your team, talking about it, like I just going on this guy, so we bait out the Oracle ulti, then we back out. If you don't communicate it, maybe your team goes all in the fight, and then you're like, oh, they just Oracle ulti, and then we actually lost the fight, instead of backing out. So it's about being on the same page on the fight, poking the enemy, like trying to make them use their spells, not optimally. And a big thing is about having a vision advantage. Like if you have the vision advantage on them, it's much easier for you to cast your spells more efficiently than for them.